covered in black plastic. For making things out of black plastic.
We just got a super chat before we even started from Jay, who says happy Friday Eve. And he says, yes, Red. I think that Jay wants one of these. Just give the finger. Oh,
no,
okay.
He did one of these.
The two fingers, the two-fingered salute.
And then the Kavorka is what he gave us.
I think there are so many SGs. And Jay is going to want one of them. Ben already bought one. He bought that one. That's right behind. You can't see it because Chris is hiding it. He doesn't know he's hiding it, but he's. And Zoltan bought one of them, and he sent me a thing today that he said, I don't care which one it is, but I want it to be black with all black stuff and like only master volume, master tone, your favorite thing. Although with the switch in the same
with the switch in the hole, then that's a breeze.
Yeah.
But as soon as the switch is up in the other position, you need at least 2 volumes.
Noah said he wants one, not that one. I think he wants this one.
Mm-hmm.
Jay wants one that's got red in it. And there's a couple that aren't even up on the wall right now. There are SGs everywhere. Brian's is in clamps. If you've been following Brian on the 5280 Luthery
Workshop
Facebook, is that Instagram and Facebook or just Facebook?
Because I don't do Instagram.
All right,
I'm the one that set it up.
I can say that.
Good.
There. Well, okay. We could, and Joy, I'm sure would help with that if she's available.
Instagram.
So anyway, there are SGs everywhere, and Brian's got his going right now, and this is just the start, because the reason there's so many SGs everywhere is because I am doing an SG online workshop on Patreon. Mm-hmm. So if you are a patron of Patreon, or if you are a member on YouTube, first of all, thank you very much for being there with us and supporting me financially and emotionally. And as my in return, I would like to give you guys a bunch of online learning stuff that we're going to be doing throughout the course of the year. So the first one is neck through SG, because you want to start with the easiest one, right?
Yeah, I mean, why would you not start with the easiest one? Yeah.
Anyway, and the second reason is because May we have I think like the second week of May and the third week of May. Don't quote me on that. You can look it up on the website. During the month of May 2025, we have our first and second Ultimate SG workshop that is going to be super, super fun. And
super groovy. SG is for super groovy.
Well, that's what the Yamahas stood for. Yeah. So anyway, so, and like I said, Brian, so actually Brian was like, hey, can I take the SG class? And I said, tell you what, Brian, why don't you and I build some SGs and you can help me figure out
out all the steps.
Yeah.
And so how we're going to do it in 5 days.
And I know there's a lot of people here I want to say hi to, but thanks everybody for being here. Let's do that. But Chris, here's what I want you to expound on this. So I'm going to give you a moment to kick it around. What goes into coming up with these classes and getting people to, go from 0 to 60, if you will, and so what I want you to do is tell people what is involved with that. But first, I'm going to say hi to Lefty and Terry and Dan and Daryl and Jay and Dylan. Hi, Dylan. And Pete is here. And I'm going through. Paul is here. Curtis is here. Patrick is here. Amanda is here. Curtis is here. Eric is here. Gosh, there's so many people here. I can't keep track of everybody. And Brian Duncan just sent us a super chat and said, keeping it ad-free. Thank you so much, Brian.
Brian is here.
Brian is here. Brian is here in the shop, and he's drinking tequila. Alex is here with us. John is here. And so it looks like Loring is floating around, I think. Hi, Loring. So, Chris, why don't you tell people what is involved with what does it take to go from an idea to a class?
Well, so we've been doing them long enough that we have some idea of how long some of these steps take. And a lot of times we sort of work backwards, or we work day to day. We go, okay, well, where do we want to be on day 3, or where do we want to be on day 4? Where do we have to be on day 4?
Mm-hmm.
You know, how soon can we do paint? That's a big deal. And so you start just sort of, I mean, we write it on the whiteboard.
Yeah.
You know, we did that a lot. Now we're a little bit better at it. So now we just wing it.
Hardly.
Not true at all. Yeah.
If we just wing it,
we'd all have guitars that weren't done.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, you know, you have to, you know, at the latest, do paint on Thursday, so you can assemble on Friday. You know, and then you know how long it takes to make a body, and you know how long it takes to make a neck, and if you have time for both of those things, and you know, all of that good stuff. So
it used to be that we had some workshops that were just woodworking.
Yeah, and that was different, because at the end of the week, if you ended up with a guitar-shaped object that looked like you could put parts on it, that was good enough.
Yeah.
You know, so you could spend a little more time doing kind of one-off things. I think a lot of this has started to come down to, you know, you and I like everybody to leave with a finished guitar. I think most people like to leave with a finished guitar, and
I'd rather that.
Yeah, and so you have to start kind of homogenizing what you're doing. You know, you can't go build a whatever the hell you want class. Here's some wood and go.
Well, we kind of did that.
Well, we have done that.
It's a stressful.
A lot of those were just you know, woodworking. Yeah. Well, and you know, I think everybody thinks, okay, I'm going to go, and the first thing we're going to do is cut wood. No, the first thing you're going to do is spend 2.5 hours drawing, designing what you're going to make, and figuring out an approach to this thing so that you don't screw up. Because you can mess up a little bit the first day and recover, no big deal. Maybe a little bit the second day and still recover. After that, if you mess up too bad, you're screwed.
One thing is true, that it gets harder as the closer to Friday you get, the harder it is to bounce back and recover.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially in big things, not little things. But it's. And
what's the most surprising thing for you on workshops? I know what it is for me, but what is it for you?
The most surprising thing for me, I don't know. Why don't you tell yours, and maybe that'll stir something in my brain.
The most surprising thing for me is that every time I think I know what people are going to do, and I'm like, okay, I've seen it all, I've heard it all. Then somebody comes up with some new thing that throws me for a loop, and I'm like, well, I can't believe I didn't think of that.
Well, and you say, yeah.
Not from a guitar building perspective, but like some unique thing that they want.
Yeah. Can we do this? And you hate to say no.
We rarely say no, but we probably should say no.
Yeah, we should
more frequently.
Or you people a fairly, you know, large lane, and they want to veer out of that lane.
I guess that's what I mean.
You know, and it's like, why do you want to do that? What? I don't understand. Yeah.
Here's all the stuff you can do. I want to do something over there.
Fill in the blank. Yeah, class. Why are you trying to build something like that? I don't understand where you're going with this. Yeah.
I guess another thing that always perplexes me is I signed up for the Fender class. So I'm thinking about doing like a Les Paul special. Huh?
Can I pipe in on that?
Yeah, you can pipe in on that after we take a super chat. Another one from Jay, who says, you guys got me through the class with a cool guitar, so miracles are possible.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jay.
Yeah, and I think if you follow protocol, you're going to end up with something way cooler than if you don't.
Loring says that they should have said no to me, but I'm glad they did. Tazzy Tim says, "Good day, boys. Currently crossing the Bass Straight. Bass Straight.
That's a guy from Tasmania.
Yeah, but is that? I don't know what that is. Is that Brian? You seem to know what it is. Hi, Dan. How are you doing?
Between Australia and Tasmania, but I'm not sure.
I don't know my geography, my friend. I'm going to have to look that one up. But I'm glad I hope you're doing okay. Well, Brian, if you're going to chime in, you better come over here so that people can hear you, because I don't know that they can. So
yeah, all I wanted to say was that the thing that surprises me is that, you know, the idea is to build a guitar. You're going to walk out of here with a cool guitar at the end of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And almost inevitably, guys are picking really difficult stuff, guys that don't have any experience building. And you guys, your generosity and you're sharing your knowledge and everything else with everyone is great. But at some point, I know it's frazzling sometimes, all the stuff that goes on in some of these classes. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. It's you know, sometimes I think we push ourselves and we end up with something that we didn't necessarily think we could pull off.
Right.
And that's cool. Yeah. It's always unique. It's always fun. You know, one of the things when we first did the build it wasn't called the $9,000 telly, but it was based on the $9,000 Strat class.
Yeah.
Build a 51 no-caster. That's a pretty specific thing, right?
Yeah.
You're going to build a 1951 Telecaster.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want? Rosewood fingerboard. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. What color do you want? Maple top.
Purple. Yep.
Okay, maybe. Yeah. And that's, you know, none of that was a deal. But I was hoping that there would be 6 guys and we all did butterscotch 51 tellies.
It sure would have made paint easier.
It sure would have.
Right.
Yeah.
Hi, Mike. How are you doing, sir?
And yeah.
Yeah. So
And I don't want this to turn into a
no, it's not. It's not a
thing, because it's not, because I love doing classes.
Mm-hmm.
They're super fun. But yeah.
Oh, speaking of classes, the April Super Strat workshop has some spaces left in it, but I have to cap it on Monday.
Okay.
So if
Because we
any,
have to have stuff.
we have to make sure we have everything. So for example, I just ordered a bunch of Floyd Rose genuine Floyds yesterday because I'm like, I got 3 guys who I know want them, so I better get them.
What else can you build during that class?
Well, you can build a regular Strat. You can build. We've also decided if you want to build a super telly or a regular telly, you can do really any Strat or telly.
Any Strat or telly.
You can build that in the April workshop.
Does that mean I can build a Jaguar?
Is that a Strat or telly?
No, you cannot.
Yeah.
Can I build a Jazzmaster? No.
Yeah, I think it should be.
can't.
It should be. I think it should be
Strat or telly.
painfully obvious that if you want to build a Strat or telly, that does not include anything that's not a Strat or telly. Not telly bass. Can't build that.
No.
So, and the reason for that, gang, is I gotta have time to acquire all the bits.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so sometimes you guys kind of throw me for a loop when you're like, "Oh, can I make a bass?" Well, yeah, maybe, but now I have to source a bunch of bass hardware and I have to get a bunch of, but April, you can build a Strat or a telly. You can put a Floyd on it or a regular, whatever you want on it, and we're happy to do that.
Yep.
So far, though, everyone's building a Super Strat.
That's cool.
Actually, you're going to
Except
build
for
a
us.
regular Strat, right?
Yeah.
I would one day like to build a, I'm going to call it a super telly, or I always kind of refer back to the Mick Mars girls telly. I'm sure somebody, maybe John 5 has one with a, I don't know. But if you guys want to get in on that, if you want to build a super Strat or you want to build a regular telly or something like that, you need to let me know by Monday. Because if not, I need to cut it off there so I can make sure I have everyone's stuff by the day that they show up.
Yeah, yeah. And that class is a little more paint intensive, a little more assembly intensive.
Yeah.
And some of the others, we're actually going to spend more than a day assembling these.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uptown.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people are there. There's a lot of comments about what is and isn't a super Strat. Frankly, I think that if it's got a humbucker and a Floyd,
or some sort of not standard wiggle stick.
I'm going to say
I think a Kaler could be a
Kaler
super Strat.
could be,
Yeah.
but but
Most people don't want that.
as a purist, I still say that's a stretch.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Someone was like, it's got to have iridescent paint, and I get that, but I think you could just have a plain one. In fact, I think that a true super Strat would have one humbucker, a Floyd, and no finish at all. And you just take it to the gig. That's what those guys would do back in the late 70s and early 80s. They would, I guess, or you'd spray it with some craptastic paint that you could get that, it wasn't a pro grade finish. It was.
No.
Ours are going to be pro grade.
Right.
Finish,
Yeah.
And okay, trick question. What wood do you think the body should be made from if you're building a super Strat?
Well, I think the obvious answer is basswood,
Okay.
but I don't think,
But I did
that's
say
the
it was a
right way
trick
to go.
question. Maple. All
Oh,
maple.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what I think.
All right.
Hey, Joey Dano Guitars. Brian made him do it. Thank you so much. Doug, I sure do miss you. I hope that you're doing good, my friend. Lauren Court says monkey grips. And, Jay said something
I think these are all features that they eventually ended up with.
Yeah, I don't necessarily.
And I don't know when the term super Strat started happening.
I'm
do
not
know
sure that either, yeah.
people used to buy, because, used guitars used to be used guitars.
Mhm.
There was really no market for them. And you'd buy a Strat and you'd jam a humbucker in it, and then you'd jam a Floyd Rose in it.
Yeah.
And that's, what you did. Is that a super Strat?
Probably.
No, it's a fucked up Strat with a humbucker and a Floyd Rose.
Hey, there's no need for that kind of language. Ben's here.
Oh, sorry.
Hi, Ben.
But
Yeah, so what's your fucking language?
yeah. So, and then some stuff that was sort of Strat shaped. I mean, how far can you deviate from a Strat shape? Is a dinky a super Strat?
Probably.
Is a Beretta a super Strat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alex, if you're interested in the class, you can go to texastoastguitars.com, and in the workshop area, there's all the classes are up there.
And you click on the one.
You know what?
you're
Okay.
interested in.
Most of the classes are up there because we don't have the rest of the year up yet.
Well, everything that's
Through September,
currently
I think.
scheduled
Yeah.
is up there.
Jay said something about, and I want to kind of touch on this. He said, the guitar is a cool thing, but the community is something that you get. That's a really neat thing. And that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
So
Paul Goslin last week was like, I don't know if it's because I was the only guy in this class.
what is Brian, chop liver?
Well,
Kinda.
but we know Brian,
Mm-hmm.
and Brian is as much on. He wasn't really a partaker. He
Brian's a
class.
fixture. He's
Correct.
a shop fixture.
Yeah, I mean
You
he's
can't get
not.
rid of
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
like the
so
pin
really
rider.
Paul was
I'm like
was
Travis.
the new guy, and he's like, I don't know if it was just because I was, but man, you guys, it's everybody was just so nice and so accommodating and so and I'm like, this is pretty much the way it always is,
This is a good segue. Speaking of nice and accommodating, Dylan from Dylan Talks Tone called me the other day.
Oh yeah.
Or I called him.
Yeah,
I was
you
talking to
called him.
Dylan. I was talking to Dylan. And he goes, hey, man, I'm thinking about, and now I don't know if this is something I probably shouldn't say, but I'm going to go ahead and spill the beans to all 70 people who are here. Dylan was talking about maybe doing a pre-order of his gasser model.
Oh, okay.
guitars. And so I hope that happens. And I don't know like what I think Dylan's going to do it. He's trying to get this website together, and he's got a new grandbaby, so there's other stuff on his plate. But like he wants to like make a drop-down menu of stuff that you can get. And so the options will be curated, but it will be like the cool guitars that we built for his initial run. And I'm really looking forward to that. And speaking of accommodating, that is a cool thing. Let's take a quick super chat from Tazzy Tim again. He says, reception getting worse. See you next week, gang. Hey, Tim, I hope you have a safe trip on the Bass Strait, Bass Strait.
Tasmania and Australia.
Okay. Well, I hope that
he's
you
right
are
in the middle
doing
of the
well,
sea
sir.
and he's watching us.
Yeah.
That's
That's
pretty
cool.
Yeah. Good night, mate.
Dylan says, hoping to have it ready next week. So, Chris, I'm going to tell you what I would like in my Dylan gasser model.
Okay.
And then now you know what those are because you made them with me. And then I'm going to have you tell me what you would like in yours.
Okay.
I think that black one with the humbuckers, where the cream rings match perfectly, the pins, that's my favorite one.
Is it?
That thing is so cool. How about you? Which one was?
I liked them all. Black is always cool.
Yeah.
The gold one was cool. The blue one was also cool. I wouldn't fault anybody for liking any of those. But I did like the black and cream and humbucker and all of that and the pinstriping. I thought those guitars looked really, really cool, and I wouldn't have turned down any of them.
I would probably upgrade my pickup to Dylan's ceramic magnet. His eight, not 8-cylinder, Super 8.
Super 8.
I love that pickup. Yeah. Speaking of, Brad Guitar Miller says that a Super Strat should have DiMarzio, Floyd Rose reverse headstock minimum. I don't think it needs to have a reverse headstock, Brad. One of the most famous practitioners of the Super Strat sometimes had a reverse one, sometimes had a regular one.
Who did?
You might have heard of him. He's this guy. He's dead now, Eddie Van Halen.
Oh, yeah.
Some of his guitars didn't have headstocks.
Classical player.
Yeah, he's a classical guy. But so I think that maybe you could say that if Eddie Van Halen did it, it's a Super Strat. I don't know.
Maybe.
Ibanez Destroyer is a Super Strat. Fine.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah.
Daniel Zamora says, I love the gold one with P90s, but would be cool like a thinner trans with a flame maple top and a trem, sort of like a Les Paul Telly Bastard. We could do that. Now, Dylan's have stop tail and Tune-o-matics. If you really, really wanted one, Daniel, if you want to do that, you need to call Dylan. I'm sure that we could make an arrangement to do that, but I think that would be a cool one.
Dylan wanted, when we first approached him with this idea, because we were talking to, about doing this, and you and I always default to flame top, and a little more traditional. And Dylan's like, that's cool, but I want it to have more of my flavor to it. So he's like, I want, this and this and this and this. And we're like, yeah, that's cool. Okay. Yeah. So, but yeah, we can do all of that stuff.
Daryl says, in a guitar body the size similar to a Jazzmaster, is a HPP arrangement too much for the body space?
Daryl humbucker P90.
Yeah, Daryl, I need some more. I need clarification. I'm sorry, I don't understand. I'm feeling a little bit not 100% smart today.
Yeah, one of the funny things about 3 pickups is all of a sudden switching becomes an issue, and you could put 3 mini toggles in and then turn them all on that way. That's a way to do it. But
humbucker P90.
Yeah. But you got to figure out a way to do switching on stuff like that.
I don't see why it wouldn't work, Daryl. This guitar here has 3 humbuckers. Now they're jammed up right up on each other.
Yeah, those rings are going to touch.
But
it's butt to butt, and
but remember, this is a 24 3/4 scale instrument. If you had a 25.5-inch scale, you would pretend and fewer frets,
21 frets.
You could probably jam some more. You could easily jam.
The P90s aren't that wide.
Yeah, you could put 2 P90s and a humbucker in that space. But Chris is right. Switching is the trick.
And yeah, whatever.
Paul got his guitar.
Paul says he's acclimated to Indiana very well, and it's rocking and rolling.
Oh, good. Paul Goslin.
Right.
Paul who?
All right.
I don't know anybody named Paul.
Speedy.
So, Chris, did you already answer what you would do if you had your own Dylan? Let me tell you.
Well, I want to see the options, because presumably they'll be
that's a great
slightly different, or maybe more. Now, of the ones that we did last time.
But what
I
if
think
Dylan
it would
doesn't
be
know all the
black.
options and you need to tell him what you want so he can go, oh, I better add that.
Well, for one, I'm not going to buy one, Dylan, as much as I'd like to. Yeah,
maybe
I
you
don't
just
know.
want 3 humbuckers.
No, I don't want 3 humbuckers.
Maybe somebody does. Maybe
I-
you only
the
want
funny
one in
thing
the
is-
neck.
The funny thing is, I like the way the humbuckers look, even though I'm not a huge humbucker guy. So I think I would go with some of Dylan's enduro pickups.
See, that would be a
Single
great
coil,
one. Yeah.
But humbucker, because I like the cream rings with the cream pinstriping and everything else.
See,
And
I
I
think
would probably default to the black one. As much
I
as
think
like the
that
other
would be a
colors.
cool, because we didn't do any enduros on.
No, Dylan did all the
yeah.
did all the pickups
Mhm.
and stop tails and all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought they were really, really good looking guitars.
Well, let's hope
and-
that this becomes a reality, right? I mean,
Uh-huh,
I guess enough
yeah.
people have said,
uh-huh.
"Hey, we want these," so yeah, let's make them happen, right?
Yep.
Oh, Loring says, I'm thinking Vega trim and locking tuners and avoid the Floyd. On what?
On a Super Strat,
On a Super Strat?
Vega trim.
You know, we've done a handful of Floyd bridges with no locking nut, with locking tuners.
Mm-hmm.
Doug has one of them.
Yeah.
And
The
it's
funny
super
thing is,
cool.
I think a Floyd Rose is a very, very cool trim.
Do you? That surprises
Yeah,
me.
I think the locking nut
Makes
is
it less cool.
really, really terrible.
So I want to
so-
hear more of that, but I also want to tell people that Daniel Zamora asks, are the Hipshot trims more like a Strat feel Floyd or like a Bigsby? They're more like a Strat.
Mhm.
They're just a fulcrum tremolo, right?
Yeah, except it's more of a knife edge. It's nicer than a vintage 6 screw.
Mhm.
It has a slightly looser feel, but it's not as loose as a Floyd.
I like them better than the PRS man-made.
Well, those are
bridges,
I think
too.
those are 6.
They're 6 screws.
and
Yeah.
I think that's part of the problem is that trim is basically mashed against 6 screws, even though those screws are just in there. It's still rubbing against 6 screws when it moves.
And I think that the man bridge is a very good bridge.
Mhm.
I just like the Hipshot better.
Yeah, the Hipshot, and it's the same with 6 screw versus modern 2 post kind of feel. And
So let's talk more about. So our friend Mike Learn still lives in 1989.
I can't imagine why anybody would want anything other than
anything
a Floyd
but
Rose.
a Floyd. But
Yeah.
if you were to tell, if somebody said, "Hey Matt, what do you think Chris thinks about the Floyd Rose?" and I would say, he probably doesn't like it.
Yeah.
I'm actually
No,
surprised.
I think
hear.
the actual bridge itself is very, very well thought out. And
Like
I
with all
like
the
some of the
bits
ideas.
and-
Yeah, I mean, there's the micro tuners of fun little
That's a cool thing.
thing. The adjustable trem arm.
Have you ever had a
for
guitar with
tightness?
micro
Yeah,
tuner? Okay,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, so I had a Les Paul with
with the things on the
yeah,
stop
I
tail.
forget who made them back then.
Gosh, a lot of Schaller made
Yeah,
them.
I
and I'm
think
sure-
I had they were Shallers, and I also had a more modern Shaller bridge on it.
That is
Yeah,
a cool feature. You
those
don't
are-
see
those
that
are
often.
neat. No. And yeah, and the trem arm.
You know what we got to get?
very, very. It doesn't. There's no wiggle.
Yeah.
In the trem arm on a
There's
Floyd.
there's no run out before it actually
Correct.
starts working.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You don't have to pump the gas pedal or pump the brake pedal before you get a brake feel. Yeah, that's neat. You can crank it up. You can let it swing.
Uh-huh.
Do whatever you want. I think that's neat. It's replaceable. It's designed so that if it wears out, you can put another one in.
The arm?
The arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like too how even I'm not a dive bomber where I like need to pull up, but I like the aesthetic of it's
yeah.
all like cut away so that
Well,
you
yeah.
can-
I don't mind a floating tremolo
Mhm.
vibrato system where you can sort of wobble it and it goes down and up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the Floyd is actually really, really neat. I just don't like the locking nut.
So what So if you made a super Strat or super Tele,
hmm
and it's your thing, you can make whatever you want. What would you do? Just try to use locking tuners and
Yeah, I'd use locking tuners, and if it had a spot for a locking nut, I would ditch the locking nut and put in one of those like Graph Tech.
they've got like the
Got
full size.
so it covers that whole thing. And or just put in a regular like Gibson style nut on it and just cut it really well.
Yeah.
You know,
That would be I can't imagine like I know the way you play. And it's not like you're just dumping the strings.
I'll do shit like that. But if the guitar's set up well, and we've seen guys do shit like that on other tremolo systems, and it works great. It's just all about getting everything set up. And the problem with the locking nut is if it goes wildly out of tune, you're screwed.
If you go
while you're out playing,
or if when you string it up, you don't have one of your micro adjuster things in the exact right spot, and then you're like, get my guitar tech.
And they're a pain in the neck to set up, and then you forget and you turn the tuning key and you break the string, and so anyway, that's the way I feel about that.
Loring says LSR roller nut, and I think they're cool. I think that's a good idea.
So I've never actually had a guitar with one of those. I like the idea. I probably would like it a lot.
What about the Floyd without the micro tuners? Like
I think
the original.
I would be cool with that too if I didn't have a locking nut.
Evidently, Vinnie Vincent spec'd that on his Jackson, or I think it was Jack or Charvel or something. I don't know. Lord Impaler says, "I'll take one of those SGs off your hands if you got too many." LOL. Send me an email and I'll send you an invoice.
They do cost money.
Yeah, it's all right. We don't look. I mean that we are a guitar company, so if somebody wants one, I'm happy to sell it.
Oh, absolutely.
Daniel says, I've heard someone said that the locking nut for the Floyd was for more consistency with manufacturers making bad nuts, but not really necessary. Well, that's an intriguing idea.
That might be a thing. You can. I think there are ways to make strings run over a nut consistently and smoothly, and
making a non-pinch area is the trick.
Yeah.
So,
or you lock it down solid.
So what do you? So
what you should do is have better tuning. if you're going to lock the nut, you should have better tuners on the tremolo. Something that you can.
Yeah, really crank on it. Yeah. Instead of screws that are like a quarter inch, you need like a inch and a quarter. You know what we got to get before that class is a bunch of those trem setter intonators for Floyds.
Trem setter intonators.
For the Floyd, intonating a Floyd is not 100% as easy as it's not a trem setter, but it's an intonation tool. StuMac sells them.
Yeah.
If you guys have a Floyd and you need to intonate it, you should get one from StuMac too.
There are
Jay. For what? I sent Jay. Oh, for an SG. Oh, well, Jay, you got it. Okay, Jay, I'm going to hook you up.
So one of the funny things about something like that is you can intonate a guitar almost exact before you even put strings on it, before you hit a note, just by scale length and measurements.
Absolutely.
And if you do a bunch of preliminary stuff, but nobody ever talks about that. That's going to be my new thing.
I think it's a good one, actually.
And I can almost guarantee that that's the way a lot of companies do it. They have a measurement for each string,
right? Yeah,
and they do that, and they string them up, and they push them out the door.
Bob says, at the risk of the NSA misunderstanding, I love my TTG prostitute. Everybody loves the prostitute.
Everybody loves the prostitute. Yeah.
A lot of people don't know this, but Ben Duncan has to go. Ben, we'll see you later. He's probably going to band practice or something. A lot of people don't know this. My when I build this shape, I can't call it the SG. I'm really not supposed to make it. If we want to keep it authentic, right? Like Gibson wants everybody to stay authentic.
If you're gonna, Yeah, stay authentic. Yeah.
But so when I make one of these, I call this the prostitute is the model I call. A lot of people think
Where'd
that.
that come from?
Well, I'm fixing to tell you. It came from Yellowbeard and JJ the Boss. So yeah, and I think it's a funny name. So when I make these, though, I generally think. Now I'm not saying that obviously lots of people have made these like this before, but I really believe that the SG is one of the neatest guitars ever, and they should all be neck through. Unless you really just, I don't know. Unless you just want to go get one right now. Gibson probably doesn't make very many or any neck through SGs.
Why is that, Matt?
Well, I don't know, Brian. I don't. I mean, I'm sure they have.
No, I'm saying why should they all be?
Oh, because I think it's cool. Because I think that the neck joint on an SG is very, very small, and if you want to, it just makes sense to do. You can get now this heel isn't carved out yet, but you can get excellent access to the upper frets because Chris, we're going to talk about this here in a second too. The upper fret access thing.
Oh yeah.
The other neat thing is if you only want one pickup, well, that's no problem. Because you don't have a neck piece poking in.
Cover anything up. Yeah. Even like one pickup SGs have a pick guard that covers up where the neck pickup would be, and they're not because they think it looks good, but because they're covering up the neck joint.
Yeah,
which is usually probably pretty shitty unless you fill it in with a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I think that if you guys could see what these neck joints look like on Gibsons, you'd be like, yikes.
Yeah, they need a plate.
They're fine, but they work.
Well, but it's because there's angles and there's things.
Yeah. John says, "Love the conversation. Wish I had a great question." Well, John, next time you have one, put it in, and we'll answer you. Daniel says, "I've seen perhaps only the 12-string SG being neck. I have never seen a. Oh no, I guess I mean, I guess the double neck has a 12-string. Was that neck through the upper neck on the double neck?
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
I think those had a lot more. I think the neck was sunk into
the neck was quite a bit
more.
We get this a lot. People say things like, "I gotta have unfettered access to the upper fret area." Now, the other thing I like to do when I build the prostitute guitar, and again, I call him that because of the movie Yellowbeard and because of the race car driver JJ the Boss. But people say I gotta have the ability to go. Although this one has 22 frets, but I've got to be able to get to these notes that are what'd you say? Three octaves higher than
the lowest.
So that was pretty funny, Chris. What was that all about? We were talking about that yesterday.
So I understand the need to be able to hit some of those notes and be able to play them, but to me. That's not where music is made. It's other places on the guitar. And yeah.
Like if you're spending all your time.
Well, so I said, if you're always above the 20th fret, you're not in a band.
Yeah. You're just kind of, only Dawgs can hear this note here, I think. So I don't know, but so this one here, this SG that I built out of 2x4s, I'm amazed it's still fully operational. Now it's not neck through.
I'm not.
This one is a set neck. And the neck joint is good, but it's not as nice as the neck through one. Frankly, I am a little bit surprised that
guitar's way better than it should be.
Yeah.
And people come and see it and go, "Oh yeah, that's neat."
That's neat.
Yeah.
So for those of you who've never seen it, this guitar is one that I built out of the old workbenches here in the shop, and it is made out of 2x4s.
Yep.
It does have a whatever hunk of brown wood I had in the scrap bin for a fretboard, but.
Yojimbe.
Yeah, I think it's Yojimbe.
I think it is too. A lot of people. It's underrated fretboard wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has 24 frets. It's got a bound neck with those little nubs on the ends of the frets.
You went all out on
I
a guitar
did,
made
yeah.
out of 2x4.
And this guitar has been plecked.
Yeah.
We plecked this guitar, so you can actually watch that video.
And it held up.
And it's
Yeah, and it's got good hardware, and yeah, it looks really good. It has a great looking pick guard.
yeah.
The accoutrements are
With
far
a-
more valuable than the wood.
Yeah, with a
The
memorable
tone
logo
by
on it.
fours.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Tone by fours.
You got Lord Impaler asked a question.
Oh, what's
He
he asked?
said, is there any reason that SG or Gibson couldn't do a 25.5-inch scale SG, kind of like an original RD?
There's no reason at all Gibson couldn't make anything they wanted to make.
Yeah.
I mean, the Gibson's used all kinds of scales, very short scales like the Birdland, which is like what 23.5-inch scale or something, very small.
Even shorter than that, I think.
Is it? Yeah.
Dang.
The most of the Gibsons that we know and love are right in that 24 3/4, 24 5/8. There's some that are not quite that, but in the same general neighborhood. There's some 25.5-inch scale guitars. And of course they make basses in 30 and 34-inch scale and all kinds of stuff. So Gibson can, and they make neck through guitars, and they make set neck guitars, and they've made bolt-on guitars. Anything that Gibson wants to do, they can do.
Yeah.
It just takes time for a company like that to ramp up and do it. One of the
I
things
think I think one of the reasons for Gibson to not make something in 25.5-inch scale is it's not their scale length.
it's not a recognized Gibson scale.
That's not their thing. And
even though they've done it.
Yeah, I mean, for the same reason they don't make stuff out of ash.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Right.
It's not their thing. So which doesn't mean that somebody else couldn't do it. And doesn't mean somebody else shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Just that's not their thing. So
but it's a big company like Gibson or Fender or Paul Reed Smith. It takes them a lot of time to go from the idea phase into the production phase. Now, not in like the custom shop thing. Those guys can do they can do one-offs. But like for Gibson to go, oh, we're going to make a SG with 25.5-inch scale. That's what a great idea. From the time it takes to get them to do that, and then by the time they've got one, they probably got 100. You know what I mean? They got to make a bunch of them. It takes a long time to get those things ramped up, I think, and to get those design processes. That in 2025 there'd be a bunch of CAD work that would have to get done. But Chris, you and I, actually our buddies at Casino Guitars were talking about this, how big stores like, Guitar Center or Sweetwater, big compared to Casino, it takes them a long time to do something. Casino, they can pivot fairly fast.
Yeah, that's always been a thing with smaller businesses and U.S. business versus overseas business versus, people that make the same thing 8 million times versus places that make the same thing 10 times and can, You
know what I want everybody to do? Will you guys do me a favor? I want you to do something for me. Will you now? Okay, this favor's in a couple parts. First of all, you can't tell them that I told you to do this. Okay? I want you to call up your favorite guitar store and ask them if they carry Texas Toast guitars. And specifically call up Casino Guitars and Wildwood Guitars and Chicago Music Exchange and go, hey, do you guys carry Texas Toast guitars?
We heard you were going to carry No, don't say that.
And then we heard them talking about you on their podcast.
There you go.
And how you were, it'd be great to get one from you guys. So call them up and just and this is our guerrilla marketing.
This
campaign.
is we're gonna either have a number one hit on local radio, or they're never gonna play our record again.
Hey, it worked for Evil Knievel.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
So would you guys now don't start laughing and go ha ha ha, they told me to do this, but
don't go. Hey,
Why would they hold the phone like her?
Whatever. This is how you talk on a phone.
Her.
No, so this is how the old phone.
I know. I remember. So don't tell them what not to do. Let's tell them what to do. So call Casino Guitars and Wildwood and
Uh-huh.
Chicago Music Exchange.
Mhm.
It's just call them all tomorrow. Call them all up.
And say, hey, do you have any Texas Toast guitars?
There you
So-
go. There you go. And if they say no, say, oh, well, I heard them talking about you on their podcast.
So here's a real thing. I
Yes.
follow Texas Toast Guitars on Reverb.
Uh-huh.
I watch every single one of them.
Mhm.
A bunch of them have on the used market have sold
Oh, is that right?
for not bad money.
For big boy money?
Some of them for good money.
All right.
So that's an underswell of things that are going on.
Yeah.
And and just go, hey, I'm interested in these guitars. Do you have any? No. What do you think of them?
Don't ask them that. Just to tell them to get some.
Do. Yeah. Well, I don't really know. One shop will say, well, I don't really know. The other shop will go, oh, those are pretty cool.
Yeah.
I won't tell you which shop's going to say what.
I want you to get
need
some of them.
Call both and then come back and report in next week.
I got to get me one of them toasties. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Mike says it's a good idea. I think Amanda thinks it's a good idea. I don't know, but yeah. And Brian left you a message to say that, to remind you guys to do it. So yeah, I think it's a great idea. And you guys can help me. If you guys would help me with that, that would make my
That's a
day.
good idea.
So anyway, all right. What we got a few more minutes here, right, Chris? What else were we going to talk about? Gosh, it was Dylan's. Okay, you know what you do? Call up Dylan and say, "Do you have any Texas Toast guitar?"
And he'll say yes.
You will.
So Dylan is. I think that the Dylan pre-order.
Mhm.
Now, how do you suspect that could work, Chris? Obviously, you call in with you put in your specs for your idea.
Uh-huh. There might be a little back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you probably pay like a little bit up front.
Yep.
Right.
Mhm.
And then the rest when you get it or
And then I think the rest upon completion, upon shipment, upon something else.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Guys, I got to tell you, if you want one of Dylan's models, because Dylan is an authorized dealer,
He is.
you can call up Dylan. You can call Casino and Wildwood and Chicago Music Exchange. And I would love it if you did that. I think if they got who's these Texas Toast guys? What are they talking about? I think that would be funny. If you did that,
The funny
you
thing
guys
is
would
every
make
time
my
we've
day.
called Casino,
Yeah.
Baxter or Justin answered the phone.
You get to talk to those guys, yeah.
Justin.
Yeah.
Justin. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got it right the first time.
Yeah, I mean those dudes are
Sorry.
cool. They know who we are. It's
Oh
not
yeah,
like
absolutely. Yeah. They don't hang up the phone. Hey, it's Matt from Texas Toast.
Eh.
Son of a bitch. Click.
Hey, Dan Andreas asked a good question.
Dan Andreas asked a good question. What is it? What did he ask?
Is it about
He said-
green?
No, it's not.
Okay,
No,
good.
green. He says, I know I'm a newbie at playing, but I switch between my Icon, PRS, LP, and Strat, and don't feel a big difference in how the scale length affects the play.
Yeah, guys who play don't care.
Yeah.
So
And so you take a number like let's just go with 25 and a half and 24-inch scale.
Mhm.
Sounds like a big difference.
Really,
It's
yeah,
an eighth of an inch at the first fret difference, narrower,
yeah,
and then on down the line. So if you can play guitar, you can play any scale length. There's
Yeah.
preference, but it's not that big of a deal. And it might feel weird for like the first minute or two, changing around from guitar to guitar. But after that, you should be able to get
but
used
it's
to
really a
them.
manufacturer's preference on how they want to play.
Well,
Yeah,
I actually think that there are some magical things about certain scale lengths. I really do. But like people who I know who are really good players, Brett Hagen,
Mhm.
Jeff LaQuadra, Brian Duncan,
Yeah.
they don't
I mean,
care
the
what
big names.
big names
Yeah,
that you guys
yeah.
have heard of. Yeah, they don't care what it is, and they might get like if they're going really fast, they
Mhm.
might go, whoa, I didn't did that fret got, but it is
You never
rare
know.
for them.
You don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, I think there's it's just preferences and companies want to differentiate themselves from other companies.
Mhm.
You know, I think that's why Paul Reed Smith did 25-inch.
Mhm.
You know, I'm going to make and it was probably I'm going to take the best of this and the best of this, and a
Mhm.
lot of the things that he did pick were the best of each. You know,
Yeah.
But how are you going to pick the best of on the fretboard? You're not. You're going to do what he did and go in the middle, which
Yeah.
isn't really in the middle. Should have been like 25 and an eighth.
I think that the 25 and a half inch scale is probably, if you were to say what's the best scale length, I would say that's right up there.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the best guitar scale, but I don't like the way, but I think that in terms of like clarity and things like that, but for me, I'm not a finesse player. I'm like a wrestler.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a guitar player. I'm a guitar wrestler. So I think that the shorter scale length works better for me because I'm just kind of just beating the thing into submission. And the shorter it is, the better it is. I think that if you are a great Strat player, a Strat sounds great. If you're not a great Strat player, it doesn't sound so good.
Is that my problem?
No, I don't know what your problem is, but yeah.
No, that's not. It's
I like
one of
the
your problems.
PRS.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. it
I
just
haven't
feels-
played any 25. I mean, like sat down and
25,
played it.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, 25-inch scale. But I played lots of other stuff, and and sometimes you pick up a guitar and you play it, and you're like, okay, and then you come to find out later it's some weird ass,
Yeah.
24.6 or something like that. And you're like, oh, yeah, it seemed fine to me. Yeah.
Bad Joke
Last
Guitar
time I
says that
checked-
you should contact Trogley and tell him you want a new Guitar Day service for a text. Yeah. Any of those people that you call, but let's focus on Chicago Music Exchange, Casino Guitars, and Wildwood. Okay, here's a good one. Martin Murray says 25.5 on an SG would probably be neck divey. Okay.
We actually were talking about this earlier today because not me. I have not been building any of these. I wander into the wood shop and go, oh, another SG, huh?
There are will you pull this one? The see if you eat your Wheaties and pull this one off.
The heavy one.
Yeah.
Right?
So
It's not
all
really that heavy.
all SGs sit oddly compared to Strats and Les Pauls.
Correct.
And the reason is not so much because there's a bunch of neck dangling off that way.
No.
This body is wildly heavy. This is a Purple Heart body. This weighs what, 7 pounds right now?
Yeah, seven and a quarter, 7.5,
Yeah.
almost, which isn't heavy for a.
But you're not going to get
a
neck
husk.
dive.
But remember, this is you will. You absolutely will get neck dive from this. So this body is way heavier than the neck. Here's what will happen though, Brian. And now ask me how I know this. The neck will not go all the way to the floor, but it will go thunk and it will all of a sudden be completely horizontal.
Yeah.
That's and then it will and it but you can't if you have this on a puny chintzy strap like this and let go of it, it'll go thunk to right there.
Mm-hmm.
A regular SG might go a little bit more. Now that's not because of the shape of the guitar, the more neck or any of that stuff. A P bass is a considerably longer neck, but the strap location is not where it.
And you have to center up the strap, you know. So if a strap button's here and a strap button's here,
Yep.
the center of this thing's going to be here.
Yeah.
Which is going to make it, hang like this. If you have a horn out here and a horn and a strap button here, and all of a sudden the center's here, the guitar is going to sit slightly different.
That's
a real thing.
If this were a 15-inch scale, it would still do that.
Yeah, it's
maybe not as bad, but
body shape and where the strap is located.
now, Chris.
You'd have to put it, and I think I've seen this. People put extensions
Yep.
on strap buttons.
I've seen that on Thunderbirds quite a bit.
Yeah,
I
and
was wondering if
that would
anybody
fix
does
it.
like that. You do acoustics and put it underneath.
underneath, I think it would be the
Maybe.
same as putting it here.
I could put it on the volute.
It might,
That'd be
it might
There makes
hitch
it
a little
so
bit.
forward.
Yeah, it might hitch a little bit there. But yeah, you want to talk about a guitar that neck dives. Stand around with an acoustic guitar
Mhm.
on a strap. Jesus
We're
Christ.
playing Explorer. And
Yeah.
I've been playing one most of my life, and it just you don't even notice it after
Yeah.
a while. It's not a
Yeah.
big deal.
Yeah. Keep your hands on the guitar.
Dylan says, "Who plays with no hands?"
Right. That's exactly
Yeah.
it.
Uh-huh.
Dan says, "Where does the front strap button go on those?" Dan, we include the strap button, but we generally don't
People have
attach it.
so much preference
Mhm.
that we put it in the case
Yep.
and let you decide.
That's how
Yeah.
Gibson does it now too.
Does that?
Typically
They
they
did on
went
my acoustic.
here, right?
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people don't want a strap on their acoustic, or they want to go full on hootenanny and,
Hootenanny
and do the
strap.
thing
Put
on
it on
the
the
end.
stuff.
Yeah. Remember when P bases, the original P bases
I
actually
loved that. Yeah.
had a strap button on the headstock.
Yep. That's no neck dive on those. Bad
Yeah, just
dudes.
do that. I mean, and it looks cool.
It
And
looks
it's really fun as you're playing, trying to look through the strap to see where you are. I did that on a guitar recently. I was like, this seems like a fun way to do it. It was a little like parlor guitar.
Mhm.
And yeah, got a leather thing that goes behind the nut here and straps on and put it on. I'm like,
If you put the strap button right here on an SG,
uh-huh.
and I'm sure there's a good way to do it. We could probably recess this, add a thing, and put like a. It would be the best way to do it, right there on the 12th fret. But what you can also do is just get a great big wide leather strap that has some traction to it, and that's a good way to go to.
And yeah.
All right, Chris, it's
Just
getting about that
around.
time on Thursday where we talk about what we're doing tomorrow.
Okay.
Can you
We
we've got
might have a reveal tomorrow.
Oh, there's no mic.
We're gonna have a reveal tomorrow.
Yeah.
For the first time in
A week.
2 weeks.
Oh yeah, because we did one last week, but that was a class reveal.
Yeah. Unknown
Unknown
Cola.
Cola.
It's Timmy Taz. Tazzy Tim.
Yeah.
I
I recently changed my Siri to the Australian woman's voice.
Good for you.
Because I want to hear things like
That's sexier.
tone left
Dylan says leave the template locators and use a D-ring and chain.
and just bolt it down.
Just bolt that son of a gun
It's
down.
moving
Yeah.
around a little bit. Well, tighten
Yeah,
it
big
up.
eye bolt right here. So anyway, yes, there will be a reveal tomorrow. And it's going to be a multi-guitar reveal tomorrow. There's going to be at least 3 in our reveal tomorrow. Yes?
You got a bunch, right?
You got the white one, the
Sure.
yellow one, and the hollow one.
The yellow one.
Yeah.
Which yellow one?
The one with the couch.
Oh, we're gonna reveal that one again.
I don't think because it's
we showed it off.
but now it's going to be for sale.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good thing, right? We want to let people know that you can buy these things.
Mhm.
So anyway,
We need to sell them too.
got it. Well, there's a lot we got to do to stay in business.
Man.
Yeah, we can't just
Can't
people
just
think we
make
just
'em.
give stuff
I got
away.
this. I got this making them down.
Yeah, that's easy. It's the selling them part.
It's the
that's
selling
tricky.
part. That's not as easy.
So we will have a reveal tomorrow night, guys. It will be around the 5:00 hour. Lord only knows who will be here, but Jimmy wants to do a fish fry, so he might be here. I don't know. I don't know what his plan is.
Fish fry in here.
No, not in here. He wants to go eat fish. So anyway, anyhow, guys, we will see you tomorrow for some kind of reveal. Like I said, I have no idea who's going to be here. Rocky Ramjet might be here. And so we will see you then. Until then, I want you to go over and check out Dylan and his lovely wife, Leslie, on their live stream on his page, Dylan Talks Tone, and hang out with them for an hour or two, talking about guitars. And then after an hour, they talk about whatever you want. Guys, I want to remind you, go to Casino Guitars, go to Wildwood Guitars, go to Chicago Music
And don't be a
Exchange.
jerk about it.
Call them up.
Yeah.
Who would be a jerk about
No,
it?
but I
Everyone
mean,
here is
these
cool.
guys, don't berate them because they're not carrying it.
No one's going to
Just
do
be like,
that.
yeah. Do you have any of those Texas Toast guitars? I've heard about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one's going to say, no, yeah, I see what you mean, but I don't think no one watching this.
Why aren't you carrying Texas Toast?
Yeah, no one
you're
here.
not.
Everybody here is
Yeah.
cool. They're not
Don't
going
do
to do
that.
that. So
Yeah.
anyway, give them a call for me. Don't tell them I told you to do it. And we'll see you guys tomorrow for a reveal. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time. Oh crap! I gotta hit that button.
You do have to hit the button.
I
man.
did it wrong. I'm
Yeah,
still
you did.
doing it wrong.
Click in the middle of the screen.
Okay, that didn't work.
What are those other two?
I don't know. I'm
Things-
trying. I'm really trying.
Is this your first computer?
Holy moly.
Baby's first computer. I'm
Yeah.
still
You've got a picture of Yoda on it.
Yoda's and shit.
Yeah. Fisher Price, my first
Oh, for
computer.
Pete's sake, this is terrible. I'm still on here.
Oh my
Just
God.
close out the whole